tēnā tātou katoa. I te raupatutanga o tō mātou roto Moana o Wairarapa, I roto I nā rautau ki Muri. I hoko atu rā anō te kāwanatanga I tō mātou whenua. Nā, I te whakahukitanga mai e tahi o nā whenua I raru I te kāwanatanga, e hunuku atu ai mātou I tēnei whenua I roto I a Tainui. Nō mātou te tangi I tērā tuahuaranga, nō te kāwanatanga te he, I takahi mai te mana o mātou, o tāki temu waka, o kura haupo waka, o tirā, o Tainui waka. Me pēhea te anga whakamua, te noho tahi, te wānanga tahi, te kōrero tahi, te whanaunga tahi, te whakapapa tahi I a mātou.
In 1896. This particular signing was an arrangement that was negotiated at that time by the Premier, Seddon, with the Hapu gifting Lake Wairarapa to the Crown, and in return the Crown was to provide land reserves in other areas of the Wairarapa. The Crown didn't make any reserves available to the whānau. And so the whānau at that time were forced to accept the Pouakani 2 block here in Mangekino in 1915. But as there was no road access, nothing happened until 1942. The Ministry of Works decided that this was a great place to build a dam system, and so they came onto the property. There was no notice to the owners nor their consent to build this dam system. And that followed by them taking under the Public Works Act another couple of thousand acres. And so it was 45 years from the signing of this particular arrangement that the whānau were able to come here to Mangekino. So we have 12 dairy units, and it's roughly an effective area of about 3,800 hectares, 12,000 cows.
In terms of the Farm 4 system, we call this the high care, high efficiency farm. And so while we want to produce efficiently, at the same time, it's around lowering our environmental footprint.
One of the key focus areas for Farm 4 is producing the highest yet sustainable cash returns possible. So for the last 3 years, it's averaged a $5,500 operating profit per hectare, which is twice the Topol benchmark. This equates to around 10% operating return on assets. And when you look at it from a total return on assets perspective, it's about 15 to 16%. So this means that Farm 4 is actually operating in the top 10% of the Topol benchmarks.
Farm 4 is 307 hectares with around 100 hectares irrigated by centre pivot. We have 980 cows. It's 3.2 cows to the hectare. Our target this season is 430 kilograms of milk solids.
Innovation is part of the DNA and culture of Wairarapa Moana Incorporation. Wairarapa Moana had an aspiration to take our milk to the world. In 2011, this culminated in the establishment of Miraka, a whole milk powder processing plant based at Mokai.
On Farm 4, it is nitrogen that actually is of our major concern. We stopped winter forage cropping. We went in and any renovation was direct drilling. We reduced our nitrogen fertiliser and we had a more precise applications of effluent, and finally we did drop stocking rate. Our estimate of N loss has dropped from 68 kilograms of nitrogen a hectare down to 46. Farm 4 is the most productive and the most profitable of the 12 farms that WMI operate.
Our work with Wairarapa Moana has really driven us to innovate. We've had to use this year environmental DNA. We've actually come back with some great results. The waterways that pass through Farm 4, we've detected over 200 different species, and as far as the biodiversity, the results have come back good and excellent. So that shows that the hard work that Wairarapa Moana are putting on in the land, results are showing up in the rivers.
We do plate walks every 10 days on Farm 4, and this information is put into P+. With the information from P+ and my observations, I can allocate my feed correctly.
On Farm 4, 90% of the cow's diet is pasture-based.
Wairarapa Moana's significant investment into irrigation was undertaken to provide certainty of supply of high quality pasture during dry summer periods. And our hourly water use is sent to council for absolute transparency.
We put a lot of effort and time into building pride and excellence across the whole business. Farm 4's a great example of that. So every year we hold an annual awards evening. It's become a bit of a black tie event in Taupo, and the Farm 4 team here have consistently performed at the top of their game as part of those awards for quite a number of years.
Wairarapa and Moana have an effective and structured governance system that ensures high quality results. What we witnessed was a first class implementation of a low footprint, high profit system. We got to observe the whakamaru whenua program that they have in place, which is their way of measuring triple bottom line in terms of people, prosperity and the environment, and it was in action right throughout the business. All shareholders were extremely proud, not just of the farm, but how Wairarapa and Moana go about their dairy farming business.